Hello siblings, welcome to my December book haul and book reviews. Let's talk about the books that I read in December and my short quick reviews for them, and let's talk about all the books that I hauled in December because of the holidays and the Barnes & Noble sale, even though I'm on a book buying ban and trying to read my physical books. The first book that I read in December was The Many Deaths of Laila Starr by various authors. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really good. It was very unique and it left me thinking after I finished reading it. The art style was very interesting. It wasn't my kind of story. It wasn't something that is going to stick with me for the rest of my life or that I found to be personally touching. I did think it was objectively a really good book. Very high quality, very easy to read, very fun. So if the topic interests you, I highly recommend it. This book is about Laila Starr, who is death, and essentially she gets fired from her job by the gods and has to go down to the mortal world, and she's on a mission. So I'll leave it there. I don't want to spoil it, but it's very interesting. So I highly recommend giving that one a try. It is a very unique book that I think most people will get something from. The next book I read is Stargazing by Jen Wang. I picked this up on a whim from the library because I saw it on the shelf and I just wasn't interested in it the first time I saw it a few years ago. But when I saw it on the shelf at the library just a few weeks ago, I just decided to do it, and I don't know why, but I did, and I'm so glad I did because this blew my mind. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It broke my heart. I sobbed, and I mean ugly sobbed on my couch while my toddler was watching Blue's Clues and building block towers. She looked at me like I was crazy, and I probably am. This book was so sweet. It's a coming-of-age story between 2 middle school, early high school aged girls, and it's a lot about culture, it's a lot about bullying, it's a lot about friendship and family and identity. I highly recommend it. It's devastating and it's good, and it's Jen Wang. I love Jen Wang. The other book that I read is Garlic and the Witch. I gave this 5 stars out of 5 stars. I thought this was awesome. It's an independently published graphic novel that I read on my iPad. It was so cute. This is the sequel to Garlic and the Vampire. I think this book was way better than the first one, even though the first one was really good. This one was just something else. It was super special to me. I loved watching Garlic on her journey, her coming into herself, and the little magical journey and the friends she made, and just the ending had me all misty-eyed. It was really sweet and wholesome. I highly recommend it. I can't tell you much about it because it's a second book, but it's about a little garlic girl and her journey in this little fantasy world where witches can grow vegetables into people. You don't need to know anything else. There you go. Highly recommend. Next I read Crumbs. A lot of these books are from my Goodreads nominees challenge that I did, so bear with me. You'll probably have heard of these before. This is a webcomic that was printed into a graphic novel. She's very thick. And I thought it was really good. I think I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It was a very fun experience. I loved the real look at young love and relationships and where they can have their hiccups and how they can come out better on the other side. It was really good. I really loved the society and the world. I didn't think the plot was very riveting. I thought it was extremely predictable, and I thought that the whole story itself was really predictable, although unique and still interesting because of the characters and the world it was set in. This is about a witch, and she's trying to get into the council, I believe it is. It's like a council of high witches in their society who protect society, and she would like to be one, and she can see the present. That's her power, her ability is not seeing the future, but seeing things for how they are right now. So she just knows things, and when she touches people, she can see truths about them and their past memories. So it's her navigating not wanting to be close to people for fear of finding out things she doesn't want to know about them, and her coming into a relationship that's very complicated because of her abilities. This is one that's worth your time if you're into webcomics, graphic novels, comics, and all of that. It was very good and very unique, although predictable. The next book I read was Wings of Fire I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I had never heard of this book. I know it's a series that's originally a novel series for kids. I had it come in from the library on a hold in the ebook form, and it was available, so I just picked it up. It was a quick graphic novel, but I thought it was so mind-blowingly good. I expected to just be like, dragons, so cool, but instead it was like, holy cow, these are dragons. And the story was really moving, and the dragons each had very distinct personalities. The world was really interesting. I'm very surprised by this. I am gonna continue on the series, so I gave that 4 out of 5 stars because didn't expect anything and was blown away. I also read Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Search Part 1. This is part of the Avatar: Last Airbender comics. They're really hard to figure out what order you need to read them in, so let's hope I did this correctly. I've already read The Promise, parts 1 through 3, so now I'm starting The Search Part 1, and it was excellent. 5 out of 5 stars. I thought this book gave so much more to the series, and I honestly am starting to believe that the comics might be better than the show, as in a better experience once you've watched the show, because you have the nostalgia of the show and all of the context, and it just keeps going. So the comics are a really nice experience. I cannot wait to continue on. I can't talk about this because it's part of a really big series, but I'm really glad, and this one followed one of my favorite characters from the series, Zuko. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Next, I read Song of the Forever Rains by E.J. Mello. I've been reading this for a good 8 months or so at this point. Don't look up exactly how long it's been, it'll hurt my feelings, but I've been reading this for a long time, not because of the book's fault. It is my fault. I just kept putting it off because I loved it that much. I didn't want it to end, and I was scared it wasn't going to be as good as I was feeling it was in the beginning, so I just kept putting it off and only reading a chapter or 2 at a time. This lived up to my feelings. 5 out of 5 stars. So good. This is so good I even went out and bought the next book, so stay tuned for the book haul. But this is amazing. It's dark adult fantasy romance with a mystery, but it's very quirky and eerie. I would say this leans into the dark side of fantasy that's kind of absurd. There are things that happen that are random, kind of graphic, and very dark, Alice in Wonderland, Tim Burton kind of feeling, that macabre feeling. It's present throughout this whole book. This follows Lark, who is the youngest sister of the Maasai sisters. They are sorceresses from the Thief Kingdom, and I'm just gonna read you a little blurb from the back because I think it talks about it in a way that doesn't spoil anything, and it's all you really need to know. I recommend not knowing anything going into these books, but it says, "Welcome to the world of Adalor, where lords and ladies can be murderers and thieves, and the most alluring notes are often the deadliest. Dare to listen?" It says that because the main character, Lark, her ability, since the 3 sisters have unique abilities, her magic is linked to her voice. So when she sings or talks even, she has the power to wield it as a weapon or as a tool. Highly recommend this. The romance got pretty spicy towards the end there, which, you know, I was happy about, but do keep that in mind. And please look at the content warnings for this because it does get pretty dark and there are a lot of heavier topics, although I found them to be handled pretty tastefully. The last book that I read in 2022 and the last book of December was unfortunately Below Zero by Ali Hazelwood. I hated this book with passion, and you know, I'm not gonna waste my energy talking about it. I gave this 1 star because that's the lowest you can give on Goodreads, and I hated it. It's a novella. It's following a NASA scientist or something, and it's supposed to be like a spicy romance. It's very short. I DNF'd it after a chapter maybe, which is a really bad sign because if it's a novella, I'm more likely to push through it, but I could not bring myself to read a single page more of this book that was not very long. That should speak for itself. It was horrible, and I didn't care enough to even skip to the smut. I've read a lot of shitty books, my friends. A lot of them. But I will at minimum, if I don't like it, skip to the steamy scenes to get a little something out of it, you know? Just to something. No. I couldn't even care about that because that's how bad the writing was. No. No. I do not recommend this book, and I will never be reading anything by Ali Hazelwood ever. I'm sorry if you love her books or you're a fan of this book in particular. I'm glad it worked for you. I really am, because I really thought I was going to end the year on a nice, spicy, wintry romance set in Antarctica. I was very angry that I did not end the year on a happy read. So if you got to read this book and enjoy it, I am so happy for you, but I hated this. And that is the last book that I read in December. Let's go over my book haul now. So one of the books I ordered was on Amazon and it is not here yet, but that is Electric Kingdom. I am super excited about this book. Something is calling to me, telling me that I'm going to love this book, even though I know nothing about it other than it's post-apocalyptic. I don't know. That's not my usual genre, but something was telling me I needed to own this book before I read it, and so I ordered it. It'll be here next week. But wanted to mention that since I did order it back in December. Okay, so first for the book haul, we're gonna go over the books that I got through gift cards for the holidays. So they were gift cards from friends and family for Amazon or wherever, and I purchased myself books. I just picked them out online and they got shipped to my house. So let's start with those. I got Iron Widow. I don't know anything about this. I just, again, had a feeling that I would really love this. It's YA fantasy, and it's only ever gotten really good reviews. So I'm excited about this. I just bought it, even though I hadn't read it, which is very unlike me. If you've been following, you know I have a very strange way of acquiring books, but this, I don't know. It just, something told me that I needed this book, and we'll see how it goes. Check out 2023. I don't know, I've been told it's badass. That's all I needed. Next, I purchased the sequel to Song of the Forever Rains by E.J. Mello. This is Dance of a Burning Sea, following the middle sister in the Musai. Beware the danger of flame. This is the dancer of the sisters. She's supposed to be curvy, she's supposed to be seductive, and this one has kind of pirate vibes, so very excited. Next, I purchased Witchlings. I was only a few chapters in when I purchased this because I loved it that much from page 1. I just knew from the first few pages this would be 5 stars, and it was. If you didn't see my Goodreads challenge video, this is in it, and it is the star of that video for sure. But this is following 3 young witches and their journey to becoming a coven that can trust one another and solving a really intense mystery in a really quirky, fun world based around everything witchy. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. And then we have Stargazing by Jen Wang. I checked this out from the library back in December, early December, and I read it and fell so hard in love with it that I bought it immediately after when I got a gift card, because it was so good. It's following 2 girls who are middle school, early high school aged as they come into themselves, come into the friendship that they have, learn to be better friends to each other, and there's a bit of a sad twist at the end, so do look up the content warnings if you have any that you are concerned about, or comment down below and I will answer. But this made me all misty-eyed and teary when I was reading the ending. So yeah, very, very good. I love anything Jen Wang does, and I highly recommend anything by them. Those are all of the books that I ordered off of the online, the interwebs. Now let's get into the books that I bought due to the Barnes & Noble 50% off all hardback sale, because I wasn't planning on it, but I went a little crazy. And these are only the books I bought for myself. We also did some birthday shopping for the family members. Yeah, we had a little bit of shopping therapy, so bear with me. The first book I got from Barnes & Noble is A Cruel and Fated Light, which is part of the Laila Starr series, I believe, by Ashley Shuttleworth. I read the first book, I believe it was last year or the year before, and it was really good. It's similar to the vibes of Cassandra Clare, but I personally thought the characters were more interesting, and I liked that this was more genuinely queer. It felt like, to me, that Cassandra Clare threw in some queer characters just to tick off that box. It didn't feel really genuine to me, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, like every single character in this team of teenagers is queer in some way. And there's like queer relationships at the forefront, like the main character. So say no more. Also, there's fae, which is fascinating. It's urban fantasy, just like Cassandra Clare. But I personally thought this was better as an adult. I liked Cassandra Clare as a teenager, but I think I would have liked this more as a teenager. As an adult, I definitely like it more than Cassandra Clare's writing. So highly recommend this series, and I'm very excited to continue on with this chonker of a book. Next we have Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Adeline Grace wrote All the Stars and Teeth that I enjoyed a few years back. Belladonna is about a girl who makes a deal with the devil, I believe, and she's like got a romance with him or something. I don't really know. I just know that I like Adeline Grace as a person and I like her writing, so why wouldn't I? This looks interesting, and the cover, absolutely stunning. This was 50% off. Like, how could I have said no? How could I have said no? Next, I purchased Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell. This is a companion novel to Winter's Orbit. I do not believe that they are directly linked. Like, they're not like 1, 2, and they're not part of like the same series, but they take place in the same world. At least that's my understanding, is that this is just a companion. I'm thrilled about this. I loved Winter's Orbit. Very excited about this. I know absolutely nothing about it, so don't ask me. I just saw that Everina Maxwell came out with a book that looked like Winter's Orbit, and it's in the same world. And I was like, take my money. It's 50% off too, so take my money and only half of it. The next 2 books I got were these little $10 books that were next to the register, but they were $5 because they're hardbacks. Haha. And they were interesting. So we have In Focus Tarot, Your Personal Guide. I practice tarot pretty often. I have a lot of decks of tarot cards, and I like getting books of tarot information. I like just kind of learning more from different perspectives because it's such a wide and varied practice around the world. So I thought, couldn't hurt. It was only $5 and it's very beautiful looking. So I just decided to get it, and I might find one spread in here that I really enjoy, or one interpretation of a single card, or I'll love the whole thing. But you get what I'm saying. It was worth it in my mind. And then I got In Focus Shamanism, Your Personal Guide. I shamefully don't know a ton about shamans. I'm always looking for more information on things that I don't have a good understanding of. And shamanism is one of those things that I haven't dipped my little toes into quite yet. So this is kind of my little first step into looking into what it's about. I don't personally want to practice shamanism, and I don't want anyone to think that that's why I got this book. I am just curious, fascinated even, and as a writer, even more fascinated. I've already started reading this one because I find it interesting. My cat is freaking out. I find the topic of shamanism interesting, so I hope I can learn something from this and use this as a first step to finding more information. And I believe this is actually written by a British shaman, so that's interesting. If you have any more books about shamanism, let me know, because I'm looking to learn about it apparently. Lastly, I wanted to show off some tabs that I got from Daiso for my reading for this year, because I think they're so cute. Yeah, so I got my little Monsters Inc. tabs. I've already started putting them in books because I separate my books out by parts. So like a good, you know, 3 or 4 chunks of the book so that I have checkpoints to get to. So these are really adorable for that, because you can see the character peeking out the side. That is the December book reviews and December haul for you, my friends, the last one of 2022. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, siblings.